The Galactic Command was no more. Its great halls, once filled with the voices of powerful leaders and warlords, now stood empty. The systems that were once united under one flag had started to break apart. Chaos ruled. Many alien leaders ran away, hiding in deep space. Some tried to take control but failed. Others simply gave up. Entire species that had once fought proudly now lowered their flags. They sent messages to Earth, not with threats, but with surrender. They didn't ask for peace. They begged for it. But Earth said nothing. There was no reply from humans. No army came to take control. No message arrived with demands. Earth simply stayed quiet. That silence was louder than any weapon. It created fear, deep, cold fear, in the hearts of every alien commander. They did not understand why Earth stayed silent. Was this a trick? Or was it worse than that? Did humans simply not care? Many had expected Earth to rise and rule the galaxy after the war, but they were wrong. The humans didn't want planets. They didn't want slaves or power. They wanted something else, something more dangerous. They wanted respect. And if not respect, then fear, total fear. They had sent one message, and that was enough. A single voice, calm and cold, had said, "This isn't our main force. This is your last chance." That one sentence changed the galaxy forever. Every species knew what it meant. The real human force had not even arrived. And still, they had lost. They had lost fleets, ships, worlds, and hope. If the real force came, there would be nothing left. No one wanted to see that day. So they chose peace, a kind of peace built not on friendship, but on terror. No ship dared to enter Earth's orbit again. No spy was sent. No leader even thought of war. It was as if Earth had become something else, a ghost planet. Its location was known, but no one ever went near it. Space traffic maps now had a new rule. Avoid Earth system. No approach allowed. It was not a law. It was survival. In the years that followed, the galaxy changed. New alliances were made. Old enemies became friends. All of them remembered what Earth had done. And none of them wanted to repeat the mistake. Children on distant planets were told stories before bed. Stories about the sleeping planet that woke up. About how one small blue world destroyed the strongest fleet ever made. About how humans came from the shadows and returned just as fast, leaving behind only warnings and silence. In schools across many systems, students were taught about Earth not through facts, but through fear. Never attack Earth was the first lesson in every military academy. Every leader, no matter how strong, kept one sentence on the wall of their command room. Written in Earth's old language, English, it said, that wasn't even their main force. Some believed the humans had super weapons. Others thought they had gods on their side. Some said humans had no fear, and that made them powerful. No one really knew the truth. That made it worse. It was the unknown that scared them the most. What else could Earth do? How strong was their main force? Would they return? Nobody wanted to find out. Many aliens tried to understand humans better. They watched old Earth history, studied their wars, read about their past. What they found only made them more afraid. Humans had fought each other for thousands of years. They had survived world wars, disease, disasters, and even space itself. And each time, they came back stronger. One alien scholar wrote in his book, "If they fight like this with each other, imagine how they fight their enemies." The book was banned in many systems. It spread fear too easily. Some brave souls tried to make contact. They sent peaceful messages to Earth. No answer came. Some called Earth a sleeping dragon. Others called it a shadow empire. It didn't matter what name they used. The idea was the same. Earth had become untouchable. Decades passed, but the fear remained fresh. Every generation was taught the lesson. Some wondered if Earth had even noticed how scared the galaxy was. Maybe humans were busy with their own world. Maybe they had forgotten the war. Or maybe they were watching. That was the greatest fear of all. No one wanted to be the next to wake the dragon. So Earth became a legend, a dark star in the galaxy, a ghost planet with no voice, but with power beyond reason. And every alien leader, before making any big choice, looked once at the words on their wall. The same old line, the last warning from the humans. That wasn't even their main force. Panic was everywhere in the galaxy. After the 12th battle fleet was destroyed, the Galactic Council held emergency meetings. All their top commanders, scientists, and leaders sat together in one great hall. Fear was in their eyes. For the first time in centuries, they were not the hunters. They were the hunted. They had sent their strongest fleet to crush Earth. That fleet had over 2,000 warships, elite soldiers, advanced weapons, ships that could block stars. Yet, they were gone, destroyed in less than 20 minutes. No survivors, no escape. Just a message from the last ship. That wasn't even their main force. Some leaders said the message was fake. Some blamed system errors or traitors. But deep inside, they knew the truth. The humans had done this, and no one could understand how. The aliens had always seen humans as weak, small, emotional, soft. Their world was beautiful but divided. Their technology was years behind. So how could they win? How could they destroy the most powerful fleet in the galaxy? One analyst stood up in the meeting and said, "We studied their weapons, but we never studied their minds." The room went silent. A high-ranking officer showed a captured recording from a human helmet cam. The video was shaky, full of fire and smoke. In the middle stood a human soldier, wounded but still walking. He looked into the camera and whispered, "This is just the warm-up." That line sent chills through everyone in the room. Another officer added, "We thought they were animals. But animals don't fight like this. This is something else. This is instinct. This is rage. This is survival." The council tried to keep the defeat a secret, but news spread fast. Smugglers, pirates, and traders shared the story. Fear traveled faster than light. Small colonies stopped following orders. Some planets refused to send more soldiers. They didn't want to fight humans, not after what they heard. The council became divided. One group wanted to send more fleets and destroy Earth before it was too late. Another group warned that any more attacks might bring out Earth's true force. The real force. The one they hadn't seen yet. One alien scientist, who had studied Earth's history, gave a warning. He said, "You attacked a species that has fought against nature, against each other, against time. And every time, they survived. You didn't attack a planet. You attacked something ancient, something made by war." The leaders ignored him. They sent spy ships to Earth, silent, hidden, small. They wanted to know how Earth had won. What kind of weapons did they have? How had they built such power? But the spy ships never returned. At the same time, humans stayed silent. They didn't send ships. They didn't send threats. They didn't send peace talks either. Just silence. And that silence was loud. The council became desperate. They ordered full scans of Earth's history. They watched Earth wars, read human books, listened to their songs. What they found made them more afraid. They found a race that had survived extinction-level events, wars that killed millions, nuclear fire, ice ages, plagues, genocide. And yet, Earth always came back, stronger, smarter, more dangerous. One alien historian wrote in his secret journal, "Humans are not just survivors. They are the storm that survives everything else." That journal was later banned. Some alien leaders began to panic. A few disappeared from public view. Others started sending secret messages to Earth, offering peace, gifts, trade. None of those messages were answered. Then came the scariest part. A single probe arrived in the capital system of the Galactic Council. It was small, alone, no weapons, but it sent a file, a long file. Inside the file were hundreds of names, names of alien leaders, generals, spies, scientists. Each name was followed by the word, observed. That word was not a threat. It was a promise. Humans had been watching them, listening, learning, planning, not for days, not for weeks, but for years, maybe even longer. The message ended with one line. This is your second warning. The first was silence. At that moment, the leaders of the galaxy realized something terrible. They hadn't just lost a battle. They had started a war with something they did not understand. The Galactic Council knew they had to act fast. The humans had already destroyed their strongest fleet. Their spy ships had vanished. And the last message from Earth's probe had named hundreds of leaders, each marked with the word, observed. No one could explain how humans knew those names. Some of them were secret, hidden from public records. That meant humans were not only watching. They were already inside. In panic, the Council sent a new type of scout ship to Earth. This one was different. It was built for stealth, invisible to radar, covered in black matter. It had no crew, no signals, no weapons, just scanners and cameras. Its only job was to go to Earth, gather information, and return. The ship entered Earth's system quietly. It passed Mars, then the Moon. Nothing stopped it. It reached Earth's orbit and began scanning. At first, everything looked normal. Cities, oceans, weather systems. The surface looked peaceful. People walking in parks, planes flying, lights shining at night. It didn't look like a war world. But then, the ship scanned deeper. Below the cities, miles underground, it found something strange. Huge hidden facilities. Dozens of them. Some were as big as moons. They were not on any public map. The scanners tried to understand what was inside, but the data kept breaking. There were strange power signatures, massive machines, energy readings that didn't match any known technology. Then the ship picked up a signal. A quiet one. Just a pulse. It wasn't from Earth's satellites. It wasn't from a human station. It was from inside the scout ship. The signal flashed one word on the control panel. We see you. The ship's systems froze. The cameras shut down. The engines stopped. Panic signals were sent to the Council, but they came back empty. Within minutes, the ship was gone. Not destroyed. Just vanished. The Galactic Council was speechless. Earth had done nothing. No missiles. No lasers. They had simply made the ship disappear. That was power. Silent, invisible, complete. At the same time, strange things began to happen in the alien capital. Defense systems started acting strange. One city's lights blinked in Morse code and Earth communication style. On one alien news station, a message flashed for 2 seconds before the screen turned black. Step back. Final warning. The Council now understood. Earth was already inside their systems, their networks, their satellites, maybe even their ships, and yet humans had not attacked. They had not taken over. They were simply watching. That made the fear worse. One alien scientist stood up in the next emergency meeting and said, "They don't want our worlds. They want our attention. They want us to understand what happens when we make them angry." Another added, "They are not here to rule. They are here to make sure no one dares to try again." A high-ranking general who had once supported the war stepped down from power that day. His last words were, "I saw their world. It's not built for conquest. It's built for the end of war." The Council tried to send a peace message again. This time, it was sent through a secret channel, using old deep space frequencies. The message was short. We understand. We want peace. But there was no reply. Instead, another signal arrived. A small red dot appeared in the sky of the capital world. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a weapon. It was a probe, just like the last one. But this one had no file, no message. It just floated there, watching. Everyone on the planet could see it, day and night, a glowing red eye in the sky. People started to panic. Markets crashed. Riots broke out. Some groups tried to shoot it down, but every missile exploded before it reached the target. Not because of any shield, but because the missiles shut down mid-air, as if Earth had flipped a switch. That was when the people realized something the Council hadn't said out loud. Humans could control their weapons now. Not just spy on them. Not just watch. Control. At that moment, the fear became something else. Not just fear of war, but fear of helplessness. The galaxy now knew, if humans wanted, they could end everything. Without ships, without armies, without a sound. But they hadn't. They were still silent. And that silence was the scariest part, because no one knew what Earth was waiting for, or what would happen if they ever stopped waiting. The panic in the galaxy was now out of control. The Galactic Council was falling apart. They had failed. They had underestimated Earth, and now they couldn't even find a way to reach out for help. The leaders didn't know what to do. Some of them were still holding on to the idea that they could win. Others knew the truth. Earth was too powerful. But no one knew how or why humans had such power. One alien general, who had once been a war hero, took drastic action. He ordered the launch of a secret weapon, a large fleet of ships armed with the most advanced nuclear bombs. The plan was simple: destroy Earth's defenses before they could strike again. But before the fleet could even leave its dock, something strange happened. The fleet's launch codes failed. Systems across the ships went offline. The weapons stopped responding. Every single ship's internal computer was overridden. They tried to send messages, but their transmissions were blocked. The ships were now completely disabled. It was as if someone had taken control of them. The council members were stunned. They tried to blame each other. Some called it sabotage, while others said it was a mistake. But deep down, they knew the truth. Earth had done this. The humans had hacked into their systems without a single shot being fired. That was when the first alien leader dared to speak the truth out loud. We are not dealing with a planet. We are dealing with a species that can control everything in our systems. They can see everything we do. They can stop anything we try. Another leader tried to remain calm. Maybe we can reason with them. We can send more peace offerings, apologize, offer technology, trade, resources. The other leaders were silent. They didn't speak because they knew it wouldn't work. Earth had shown no interest in taking anything from them. No demands, no messages, just silence. But that silence, it felt like a storm waiting to happen. And so, the council sent yet another message. This time, they sent it not with weapons, but with words. They promised peace. They promised respect. They promised to leave Earth alone forever. They begged for forgiveness. Still, there was no reply. The next day, a strange thing happened. A large signal burst through the galaxy. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a ship. It was just noise. Strange, static-like sounds. But in the middle of that noise, there were words. "I told you," came the voice. It was the same voice from the first message, the one that said, "This isn't our main force." The aliens listened in horror as the voice continued. "You wanted peace, but peace comes with understanding. And you don't understand us. You thought we were weak. You thought we could be controlled. But you were wrong. This is your last chance. Leave us in peace, or we will show you what we are truly capable of." The voice went silent. The noise stopped. And for the first time, the entire galaxy felt what the humans had wanted them to feel from the beginning. Fear. It wasn't the fear of destruction, though. It wasn't the fear of weapons or war. It was a fear of knowing that Earth could do anything it wanted, and the galaxy would be powerless to stop it. Some leaders tried to leave the galaxy. They sent their ships far away, hoping to escape the influence of Earth. But they were wrong. Earth didn't need to follow them. Earth didn't need ships. Earth had already proven that. They had already taken control of everything without lifting a finger. One of the last messages from the Council's secret network read, "We cannot run. We cannot fight. The humans are everywhere. They can end this at any time." Meanwhile, Earth didn't make a move. They didn't attack. They didn't send fleets. They didn't even send a threat. They were just watching. And it was worse than anything the aliens could have imagined. On some planets, there were no more wars. People lived in fear, yes, but they lived in peace. Earth had shown them that there was no enemy worse than silence. No weapon more terrifying than the knowledge that you could be watched at any moment. In the capital of the Galactic Council, the once proud leaders now spoke in whispers. Some of them started to wear Earth's symbol on their walls. It was a small, simple thing. A circle with 3 lines cutting through it. Some said it was a message of protection. Others said it was a reminder of their defeat. The truth was, nobody knew what Earth was planning. Some believed the humans were waiting for them to act. Some thought the humans had moved on and no longer cared about the galaxy. But deep down, everyone knew one thing. They could never know for sure. And that uncertainty, that fear of the unknown, was the most powerful weapon of all. The galaxy was a different place now. The fear of Earth had spread to every corner of space. Even the most powerful species, those who once ruled the stars, now whispered in the dark. They never spoke too loud. They never made noise. They had learned their lesson. The Galactic Council was no longer a force. It was a shell, struggling to maintain control. Yet no one dared to challenge Earth's unspoken authority. They still held meetings, of course. They still debated and argued. But the energy was gone. The strength was gone. Every decision they made was made with one thought in mind. Will this make Earth angry? Every action was taken with fear, not confidence. For the first time in history, a galaxy-wide treaty was signed, an agreement between every species that pledged to leave Earth alone. There would be no invasions, no wars, no attacks. Everyone agreed. Everyone except Earth. But Earth didn't need to sign. It didn't need to be a part of the treaty. It was already above it all. Earth was now a legend, a story told in whispers, a power that lived in silence. The galaxy's greatest minds tried to understand Earth. They studied human history, their art, their wars, their technology. They wanted to find a weakness. They wanted to find something, anything, that would help them understand how a single planet could change the fate of the entire galaxy. They found none. Instead, they found something worse. Humanity's relentless spirit. A spirit that could not be broken. A will that could not be bent. Many began to wonder if the humans had always known how strong they were. Maybe they had always understood their own potential. Maybe Earth had spent centuries preparing for this moment. Or maybe, just maybe, the humans were simply waiting. A few remaining leaders tried to call for a new war. They said they could still beat Earth. They were wrong. No fleets came. No armies marched. Their words fell on deaf ears. No one was listening anymore. In one distant system, a new ruler came into power. He was young, eager, and bold. He tried to rally the forces of his people, hoping to find a way to break the silence, to break the peace. His first order was to launch a full investigation into Earth's power. He sent ships to the planet's system to find out the truth. What they found, however, was not what they expected. The ships never returned. This time, there were no messages, no survivors, only a strange silence. The ruler was left with nothing but fear. Fear of Earth's unknown strength. Fear of what might happen if he pushed too hard. His people abandoned him, and he disappeared into history. Across the galaxy, whispers continued to spread. Earth doesn't want war. Earth doesn't want power. Earth wants one thing: peace through fear. The message was clear. No one would attack Earth again. No one would test them. not because Earth had armies or weapons, but because Earth had shown that it didn't need them. Earth had shown that fear was its greatest weapon. The fear didn't just come from Earth's silence. It came from the fact that the humans had won without lifting a finger. They had proven that they could make the entire galaxy bow to them, not through strength, but through the sheer power of their presence. They had become the most dangerous force in the galaxy, not because they fought, but because they didn't. And so, Earth continued to live in silence. It became a ghost in the stars. The other species learned to respect it, to fear it. They knew that as long as Earth's silence remained, the galaxy would stay at peace. Yet, deep within the minds of the galaxy's leaders, one question lingered. What happens if Earth decides to speak again? No one wanted to find out. The Galactic Council had crumbled. Systems that once stood proudly in the galaxy now fell into rebellion. Some species began to surrender without even putting up a fight. They knew they were powerless against Earth. Earth never sent a demand, never asked for control. The humans didn't need slaves or planets. They wanted only one thing: peace through fear. The fear wasn't the kind of fear felt when a warship arrives. It wasn't the fear of a laser blast or the roar of an invasion. No, this fear was something deeper. It was the fear of never knowing when Earth might strike again, or if they ever would. It was the fear of knowing that, no matter what, Earth could end everything without a single shot, without a single word. And so, the galaxy remained quiet. Earth's silence became its greatest weapon. Over the years, no one dared to test it. No fleets arrived at Earth's borders. No armies marched to Earth's cities. There were no battles, no conflicts, only silence. The humans had made sure of it. They had proven that silence was more powerful than any weapon, that no amount of firepower or military might could ever match the calm control of a species that had seen it all and survived. Earth became a ghost in the stars, a place no one would touch. It wasn't because humans had made it impossible to reach. No, it was because no one dared to challenge them anymore. Children across the galaxy were told bedtime stories of the day humanity woke up. They were told of the species that had been pushed too far, that had fought its way through impossible odds, and had emerged victorious. They were told how Earth had used its greatest strength, its silence, to conquer the stars without ever firing a weapon. And throughout the galaxy, every leader, no matter how powerful, kept one line on their wall. It was written in Earth's ancient language, a language no one truly understood. But it didn't matter. The meaning was clear. That wasn't even their main force. This line was more than just words. It was a reminder. A reminder that humanity had shown the galaxy its true power, not in war, but in the ability to walk away, to choose peace through fear. No one knew how many forces Earth had hidden away. No one knew what might happen if Earth ever chose to act again. And so, the galaxy stayed in the grip of silence. Leaders feared the day when Earth would choose to speak again. Would they demand more? Would they make the galaxy bow before them once again? No one could say. But one thing was certain. The day humans had woken up had changed everything. And that change would never be forgotten. It wasn't just the fear of what Earth could do. It was the fear of what Earth had chosen not to do. And that, more than anything else, made the galaxy tremble.